Alright, so my thoughts on the Droid 2. I just finished reading Engadget's review and watching the video. It's about a 10-minute video they posted, which is a pretty good walkthrough of the device. I can say that physically, if you didn't like the layout of the Droid before, nothing's changed. The only thing they've changed slightly the kind of profile and shape of the side buttons, but not their location. In fact, Chris from Engadget thought that the volume rocker was actually harder to access. But the basic rundown of the device, it's running 2.2 with the Motorola Ninja Blur, or whatever you want to call it. And the overall review, both video and the type, is that it's not really that big of a leap forward. In my opinion, what Motorola should have done was just take stock Android 2.2 and, put it on the faster processor, change the keyboard design, but they decided to add their own skin, add a bunch of stock programs that add, little value, and really what they needed to do was to create a phone that enticed the original Droid owners to upgrade. That's what makes the iPhone so successful, is that they add features that create this impression among iPhone users that I must have the newest model, even if it's buying, the device at full price while I'm still on contract, or enticing other smartphone users to cancel and move to the iPhone. And they just really didn't do that on the Droid 2 this time around. They altered the keyboard to have keys, directional arrow keys instead of the D-pad. I like the D-pad. I understand that it takes out some room on the keyboard, but I like it, and I'm used to the Droid keyboard, so that's really not a must-have. The camera has not improved at all, which is a sore spot. I've been switching between my Droid and my Pre on almost a bi-weekly basis. So I like them both. I'll use the Pre for a while, and then I'll think, God, the battery life sucks. So I'll go back to the Droid, and I'm like, oh, Android's so not as graphically refined and nice, but the screen on the Droid is much bigger. But the camera on the Pre is a 3-megapixel camera. Low light and dark shots on the Pre are not as good as the Droid, but for outdoors or full light shots, the Pre camera blows the Droid away. Colors, overall balance, for me, the Pre camera wins hands down. So Motorola missed a big chance there. It also does not record HD video. So they've got this new 1 gigahertz processor, the same one that's in the Droid X, and they didn't upgrade the camera at all. So, it records standard definition video. So disappointment there on the hardware, and it doesn't seem to have really sped up the interface. The reviewer said that it was kind of unresponsive in places, like toggling home screens, which is okay. You expect it on a year-old Droid handset, but not so much on the successor with twice as much processing power. So a real disappointment there, and the crapware, the added applications that Verizon and all these handset and carriers are putting on there, like Blockbuster. He went through a list of a bunch of stuff. Backup assistant. If you have an Android phone, you don't need a backup assistant. Everything's backed up, so I don't know what that's for. And Sprint puts a lot of NASCAR apps on their smartphones, and it's just, when I turn on a smartphone like a computer, I want to see nothing but the bare essentials. If I want that app, make it available via the market, or sideload, some kind of download. But when you give somebody a device and the blank slate is full of crap they don't want, that's going to turn them off. I had the problem with the Evo 4G, was that all that crap came pre-installed, and when you went to go do a task, killer, It showed all that stuff up. When people say they want a better Android experience, we're talking about from Google. I don't want a handset manufacturer or a carrier to screw up with the interface. I know, Android's not the best looking operating system out of the box, but I'm willing to put up with that as long to not put up with, carrier trying to add stuff on top of that. We want Google to fix that, not you guys. So a little bit disappointing there. And it kind of created a shoulder shrug for me. It was like, okay, I don't have to worry about upgrading. Because I like my device. And in fact, the Droid 2 seems like a step backwards for me. Not an appreciable day-to-day performance increase. And yet screwing with kind of the base Android stuff that I love. So I think Motorola had a chance to hit this one out of the ballpark, and they didn't. If you liked the Droid originally, I think, there's nothing, if you have a Droid, there's nothing that makes you want to upgrade. They didn't improve the camera or, really hardcore power as much as probably they could have. So I don't think there's any real reason for us Droid users to be that jealous. But if you're looking for a QWERTY Android device, it's really one of the only ones out there that's kind of packing the latest processor and software. The new Epic 4G is coming out for Sprint on the 31st of the month for $249. That's after $100 mail-in rebate. The Droid 2 is $199, and Engadget went so far as to recommend that if you don't need the QWERTY keyboard, go ahead and pick up a Droid X or a Droid Incredible if you can find them, because the Droid X offers that huge screen, and the Incredible has the much better looking HTC Sense UI. So that's that. They just didn't do that good of a job this time. But I still have my original Droid and my Pre. I keep saying that really what I would like is a Droid, original Droid hardware with a much better camera, a little bit better battery life, and WebOS. I really see myself moving from Android to WebOS when the new WebOS hardware comes out in 2.0 or whatever the new iteration of software will be. I think that there are things day to day that I miss when I'm not on Android, like being able to share links on Facebook or Twitter, and that stuff that hopefully Palm is listening to. Basic social network integration is pretty critical. Same thing with Apple. It's not, software OS level stuff like it is in Android. In Android, I can, share pretty much anything, any link, a story from, a news app. Super easy. It's built into the operating system. So, Palm, HP, Apple, get on that. I shouldn't have to copy and paste stuff. That's ridiculous. But anyway, that's it for tech news. The Droid 2 out now for Verizon.